All right. This is a nice place to look at the rocks. And one of the things I want to examine today, talk about, is in reference to what someone else told me on my last post. They said, well, probably what you're looking at when you look at the rocks is a local floodplain. So that's why these rocks are there. That's why you saw the layers. Now we're about 7 miles away from that location. I want you to see just how many rocks layers there are here. Okay. How tall that is, I don't know, a few hundred feet up or something. And this represents just a tiny little section of what really is. In fact, what you see here with all these layers, it just goes down thousands and thousands of feet below our feet. So you see different types of layers here, okay? But the problem with the logic that they have is that the floodplain isn't local. It doesn't matter if I go 7 miles down the road, I see this all over again. If I went 50 or 100 or 150 miles down the road, or 5,000 miles away, or if I went to Shanghai or, Argentina, it wouldn't matter. I'm always going to see the same thing. Layers, thousands of feet deep. Some people just don't have the automatic ability to put together all the pieces into one big picture. I apologize for the traffic, but this is where the rocks are. So they see one little space and they don't understand that what they're looking at is literally everywhere. It's ubiquitous. There's nowhere you're going to go on planet Earth where this doesn't exist, okay? If you go to Florida and you dig below the sand, you might have to dig, below sea level, but you're going to get to this. Out in the ocean, you're going to get to this. Layers and layers and layers, thousands of feet deep, miles deep of layer after layer after layer. You're not looking at a local floodplain when you see this in your backyard or anywhere else. What you're looking at is a universal floodplain, ubiquitous on planet Earth, and there are no exceptions. And every one of them, you're going to see the same thing. You're going to see nothing between the layers. All the layers are going to go nice and smooth from one layer to another. And you're never going to see any examples whatsoever of roots, of topsoil. Somebody said, well, maybe there was an avalanche and it pushed it away. Okay, let's say there was one example where it was eroded away and you had one layer come on top of another. Well, that would be an exception to the rule, and it would be pretty easy to demonstrate because there would be numerous examples to the contrary. But instead, we see exactly the opposite. All over the world, we see layers with nothing, no evidence that any time has ever passed between them. And in fact, they're usually interwoven in different sections. Like we talked about last time, the bottom layer might be interwoven a little into the section over there, and then you go down 1,000 feet this way, and that layer is interwoven with the layer beneath it, showing you that all these layers were put down at the same time. Some sort of very big cataclysmic event. There's no way that what you see here accumulated slowly. There's zero evidence. So what they'll tell you is they want the evolutionists, the atheists, they'll tell you that you have to be a geologist to understand what you see. Do I really? I want you to examine that claim, because atheism and evolution, and especially abiogenesis, life from nothing, starting with inorganic materials and springing into life all by itself, being zapped by lightning. You know, these dumb theories that they push on you, they want you to have to go to an expert, because the expert can use a lot of big vocabulary and they can make you doubt your sanity. You know what I mean? They can blow enough smoke up your butt that you're going to think that, oh, maybe I just don't understand it. But I want to encourage you, just had a bee fly at my face, but I want to encourage you to not doubt your sanity, okay? You're not stupid, no matter what they try to tell you. And that's why they'll always tell you, you just don't understand. Yes, you do. You do too understand. You're not stupid, no matter what they try to tell you. You are smart enough to understand what you look at, see for yourself that they're just lying about what they say. And if you don't believe it, go prove it to yourself. I'm not saying take it from me. You know, if you want to see evidence that these layers must have come together at the same time because there's no evidence of anything between them, go look literally anywhere on Earth. Prove it to yourself. So they depend on you doubting your sanity, thinking you're stupid, and you're not stupid. You are smart. You are intelligent enough to understand what you see. Don't let them think you think you're not. Their theory depends on you doubting for your very eyes. Now you say, well, sometimes, okay, but that's what the flat earthers say. The flat earthers say that I see the world as flat, so therefore the world must be flat. But that's not true, okay? I don't know, they may say that they see the sun fading off into the sunset, but that's not what I see. I see the sun going over the horizon every night. You know? I've flown on an airplane good parts around the world. It's definitely round, okay? No doubt about it. And for a billion other reasons. The stars operate, the moon operates, the sun operates in ways that we know and understand and only make sense with a round Earth, okay? So, no, the evolutionists the flat earthers do not have a point by saying go out and just believe what your eyes see. No, they don't have a point like that. All right. But I can say, just go out and look at this. You don't have to be an engineer to understand a bridge like that one over there. Zoom in a little bit. You don't have to be an engineer to know that engineers made the bridge. You don't have to be a construction worker to know that, construction workers built your house. When right behind that, you see those little lights in the background, kind of looks like a little city. That's the DuPont factory that was in the Dark Waters movie with Mark Ruffalo as the lawyer. Mark Ruffalo, the guy that played Incredible Hulk. Yeah, my wife has C8 in her body. Most of the town does because of that plant over there. C8's a chemical that they were putting in the water while they were making Teflon. Teflon is a chemical from tanks. Oh, somebody's, I didn't even know that, hey John, bring them on camera. Well, I've never done a, Facebook. I didn't know that lets you, bring people on, so. But, anyway, my wife has the C8 chemicals in her body, so does most of the town. Probably has a little bit to do with the autism in my kids. That company right there. And they gave us $250 to go pee in a cup, take a blood test, all that. Free money, right? So we're like, sure, okay. Yeah, he played, Mark Ruffalo played the Incredible Hulk in the Avengers, and he was the lawyer in the Dark Waters movie. And that's the DuPont plant right there that they're talking about. The Ohio River's right in front of it. I used to deliver bread there. So just a little interesting history there. But DuPont did not come together, or that bridge, over millions of years from rain, slowly raining on the rocks, on the construction materials, on the concrete, Nobody's dumb enough to believe that stuff in real life, okay? Hi, truck. Let those go by. And nobody's dumb enough to think that when it comes to real life examples. But you go over here and you look at rocks or something, you know, or you look at mud and they'll say, well, long ago, far away, millions of years ago in a proto-atmosphere that doesn't exist anymore, that's never been proven to exist. You know, the rain rained on the rocks, mixed up the chemicals in the water, lightning zapped it, and because we have random sunshine, and because we have magnetism and gravity, that those represent an open system where the energy can organize. Well, open systems do not equal organization. Open systems mean that all energy that is being diffuses by the path of least resistance. To create life, you must overcome the path of least resistance. You can't take naturally the path of least resistance and organize anything. The example of that, of course, is entropy. You leave something to itself, it falls apart, it doesn't organize. Entropy always increases. And I don't care if the system's open. Open systems do not organize themselves. They diffuse naturally according to the path of least resistance. That is demonstrable. Anybody can see that. That is in literally any experiment on Earth. But evolutionists say, well, if we use enough big words, we can really confuse people, make you think that somebody else is smarter than you. They're not smarter than you. You got to get that out of your head right now. They're not smarter than you are. They depend on you feeling that way, though. Because if you feel that way, then they, you know, well, maybe it's plausible. You know, I mean, it was millions of years ago. Who knows, right? No, because millions of years ago, if you were standing there right now, it'd look just like what you see now. Or, you know, even if you change the atmosphere up or whatever, you still have dirt, you still have air, you still have water, you still have lightning, you still have magnetism and electricity and nuclear forces and all these different things that represent energy. And today, no one even thinks it's possible for those things to come together right now and create life. Duh. And just because you go millions of years ago, it didn't change. Because if you was standing there millions of years ago, those forces do not suddenly become magical and do things that they can't do today. Okay. Now, yeah, I'm combining theories of abiogenesis with this presentation about rocks. I get it. We're talking about several different topics, okay? And, you know, the rock layers are not related to the topic of abiogenesis, but I'm just rehashing some of the things from my last couple videos. Go back and watch them. But what you take away from here is that these rock layers have nothing between them. And not just here, but if you were able to, like at the Grand Canyon, if you could do thousands of feet of these layers, well, it's the same here as at the Grand Canyon. You just don't see it, okay? But if you did dig down into the dirt, thousands of feet, you would just keep going, just like at the Grand Canyon. There'd be thousands of feet, miles and miles and miles of layers, just like this. And not one of them is going to show evidence of a large amount of time between them. And by a large amount of time, I mean you're not going to see roots and burrows and you know, proof that there was topsoil and stuff where there was time, millions of years before the next floodplain came over. Instead, the floodplain that you see, yeah, they recognize, oh, yeah, you must be looking at a floodplain. Well, darn right I am. But the floodplain isn't local. You see this literally everywhere. So your floodplain is planet Earth. No matter where you look, you're going to see layers with no evidence that time has passed between them. Thanks for watching.